Yes, we know. Thank you. Okay, so it is now 4 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. If you guys have seen my friendship blocks, great. I meant to have them out. Hold on just a second. Here's one of them. These are the friendship bracelet blocks that I'm making for our quilt along in the Tilda Club. Hi in Georgia. And they're made from Windy Days, which is Tilda's new collection that is coming, and it's a little bit late. It's not going to get here until mid-November for us here in the US. But I thought I would show you guys how to get started with the blocks. So once your fabric is here, we can get started on making the quilt, because I think it's going to be a really fun, cute quilt to make. So anyway, we're going to get started. So this is your center. This is going to be my center block this time. I normally don't do Christmas quilts, but I found this cute Christmas fabric a couple of years ago, and I kind of fell in love with Little Deer. So I decided to go ahead and get it. So I'm just going to make one little block, and these make great, as you can see, they're really big. They're 15 inches. So these would make great placemats. Like if you wanted to make one for, just make one for a gift for a friend or whatever, just make it and bind it. Be awesome for Christmas, a little placemat or something to put on their table. Anyway, I'm going to put the center block aside for a moment because we're not going to use it to start with. And we're going to grab our 4 5.5-inch squares and our 16 3-inch squares. And we're going to start by just putting 2 3-inch squares on the block, one in each corner. And I do pin these because I find that they do like to shift a bit when you're sewing. So it does help to put a pin in them to keep them straight. So I am going to go ahead and do that. We're going to do 2 at a time before I move back over here to press them. So I'm going to go ahead and do all 4 of the blocks, 2 corners on each. Just make sure you put your pin far enough away from the line that you're not going to be sewing over it. Oh, maybe I should tell you before we do that, these have a diagonal line marked. I marked them with a pencil, so they're marked in a diagonal on each of these little blocks, these little squares. I got everything prepared before I left for work this morning so that when I came home, I wouldn't be in such a rush. But then when I do that, I forget to tell you some things. So I have to remember all those things. And I cut these all from fat quarters. So it is possible to make this with a fat quarter of each of these fabrics. You'll have leftovers of the focal fabric. There's not very much left over when you do the with the background fabric from a fat quarter. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Jamie. Hi, Bonnie. Good to see you guys. Okay, so what we're going to do is go over to the sewing machine. We're going to sew right on the diagonal line on each of these squares. And we're also going to take our background rectangles and we're going to sew those together with the secondary focal fabric. So we can do it all at once and it makes it real quick just to do some assembly line sewing. Okay, so I'm going to move over to the sewing machine. I am not sure if you'll be able to hear me as well when I'm at the sewing machine, but I will try to talk loud. So let me know if you can't hear me. I'll try to take a peek at you guys' comments. I'm just going to sew right on the diagonal line on each of these. I'm going to zip, zip, zip right through them. Okay, so I did the first flippy corner square on each of those. And now at the end of this line, I'm just going to go ahead and sew these rectangles together. These are all 1/4 inch seams. I'm just going to be super quick. The thing I love about this block, it's really big, but it's also really fast to put together. And so you end up with a nice big quilt. Really quick. Okay, these are all done. And now I'm just going to flip this around. And I am going to sew the other diagonal on the opposite side of each of the blocks. Hi, Elise. Okay, so here we are. And I'm just gonna snip these apart. Things out. Some people like to leave the backing fabric on, but I do not. I find it too bulky, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut away those corners. So Elise, if you're still there, did you see my question that I posted on Instagram today? Should I take the papers out of my smitten before I try to sew all the rows together? So I'm just cutting off the corners at 1/4 inch. You can use your rotary cutter if you want to do that. I just always use the scissors because it just, for me, it just seems faster. So I'm just cutting off the corners at 1/4 inch. So now I'm just going to press these. And when I press them, even though it's the background is lighter, I'm still going to press toward the background because I find it easier to match my points that way. So this is one of those times when you don't do those always point or press toward the dark side. Because I want the points to match up on my, when I match up my corner squares to my rectangles. Okay, and then I'm just going to go ahead and press these as well. And these ones I will press toward the dark side. I feel like my iron's not doing very good job today. Maybe I need a new iron. Oh, I know why. It's because I'm not using my wool mat. Okay. So now we have all of these pressed. I'm going to go ahead and grab my corner squares again and do the same thing. We're going to put the diagonals on like this and pin them real quick. So are you guys like really enjoying the fall weather? It started to cool down here a bit. It's only going to be 75 today. And then the next few days, it's only going to be in the 60s and 70s. So it's going to be really cool. And then in a few weeks, it'll be even cooler, which will be even nicer. I like fall weather. I think fall is my favorite. Okay, so these are all ready to be sewn together. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Oh, that's good, Jamie. I wish I was one of those people that like to go outside and take walks because now would be the perfect time to do it. I don't like dodging the cars. So again, I'm just going to do these straight in a row really fast and easy. I think I need to find a park or something to go walking in because I don't like dodging cars. There's a lot of cars around here. That side's all done. Now I'm just gonna flip it around, do the other side. I need to find my knee lift for this machine. Make it a lot easier, huh? There we go. Oh, my machine is so quiet because it's a long ways away from where the microphone is. Yes, yes, yes. It is so good for sewing. It is so good to have good weather for sewing. It's hard to sit under big, heavy quilts when when it's too hot outside, isn't it? So for some reason, my microphone that I used to use quit working. And I don't know if it was the computer or the microphone because it doesn't seem to work with the new microphone either. So anyway, I had a microphone I really loved because it hooked onto my collar, and that way you guys could always hear me no matter where I was. If I was on one side of the room or the other side of the room, it didn't matter. And now I don't have one that's like that. So you guys have to hear me just from the microphone that's on the camera, which is fine, except when I'm over at the sewing machine, sometimes I don't think you can hear me quite as well. So again, I'm just trimming these at 1/4 of an inch. These make cute little half square triangles. I'm going to have to sew those together and figure out something to do with those. Maybe make some place or some coasters or something with them. I really love this cutesy Christmas fabric. I love pink for Christmas and lime green, so these were perfect for me. Okay, again, I'm just going to press these out, and we're going to go ahead and press them toward the background fabric because, again, it makes it easier for you to see where you're sewing and not cut your points off. So we're just making square and a square blocks to use on the corners. This block, the big block, is a traditional block called a rolling stone. And it's one of my favorite blocks. I've used it in quite a few different quilts and different settings and designs. And I think it's just really fun block because even though there's no curves, it still looks like it's round, like it's a circle in the center. But yet you're not sewing any curves. So that makes it kind of fun. Okay, so this is how the block is going to go together. This is your centerpiece. And then all of your backgrounds will be toward the center on your rectangles, like this. And then your little square in a square blocks will go like this. So when we go to sew this together in just a second, what we're going to do is we're going to line up the center seam with the point on each of these so that it looks like it all goes together perfectly. So we will do this and this and this to start with, and we will move over to the machine. That dirt, what is that? Oh, no, it's just, there's brown on the fabric and I didn't realize it. Mug rugs, yes. Hey, have you started your mug rug class, Elise? That was yesterday, right? That you started your mug rug class? So Elise, you guys, if you don't remember Elise from a couple of months ago, Elise is a designer and she designs beautiful EPP blocks, and she also teaches classes. And she is teaching a class. Okay, so what I'm doing, and sorry, I'm going to interrupt myself. What I'm doing is I'm going to line up the point with the center seam. I'm just going to put a pin in there and put a pin in right at 1/4 of an inch on the center seam. I'm just going to leave that pin standing straight up, just like that. Then I am going to pin on either side of the pin. And that will make sure that we do not get the pieces off. And they'll be nice and lined up. Put a pin in the end so that my ends don't come apart and get off. And then I can take that center pin out and start at the beginning. And then when I get right here to where the point is, I go very slowly and I make sure that I'm going just a couple of threads over from where the top of that point is to make sure that I don't run over the point and have not have a sharp point there. This is just the center square, so there's nothing to match up. So I'll just put this together. Okay. And then this one, we'll do the same thing. I'm going to flip it over and look at the point. Put a pin right in the point and in 1/4 of an inch down on the seam. Keep that pin standing straight up. Okay. Glue on my finger. It's from shipping tape. And yes, I do sew over my pins. I know, naughty me. Hi, Jen. Okay, so here's our center square. Here's the top. And here's the bottom. Oops. Other way. Here's the top. And here's the bottom. Okay. I need to press these. I'm pressing toward the center square on this one. And on these, I'm going to press toward the outside square. Okay, and as you can see, my little point matches right up with the center seam on both sides. So now we're going to do this. And the reason that I lay it out every time is to make sure that I don't do what I did when I first came over here and put them this way and then have it wrong. So I always lay it out, take a look at it, make sure it's right, and then go from there. Okay. No, better late than never, Elaine. Not better never than late. I'm always happy when you're here, dear. Okay, so for this first piece, we're going to do the same thing. Going to match up that point with the center seam. Too far there. Now I know this is old hat for all of you people who've been quilting forever. You know how to do this, but we do have some people who are new quilters. So I want to always try to teach this the proper way. This one a little bit far over. Oh, I just sewed a pleat into that. No. Okay. What did I do with that? There it is. Okay. Okay, so all that's left is to press these and do those last two seams, and then we are done. Oops. Didn't quite get that seam flat. Oh, it's so cute. It's like a Christmas wreath. Okay, so what I did was I pressed out on the top, pressed in on the center, and out on the bottom. And that way, when I put these together, my seams will nestle nicely. So let's take this over to the sewing machine and finish it up. So this time, because I've got 2 points, I'm going to have to do it twice. And I'm matching up my seams, putting a pin in. I always put my pin to the side of the seam that has the loose part on the bottom because I don't want that to flip over when I'm sewing. Can you guys hear me when I'm sitting over here at the sewing machine? I'll try to be a good girl and remove my pins. Well, that didn't last very long. I tend to sew over my pins when I'm trying to match points. So I do much better when I'm not worried about points. Okay, just one more seam. Okay, ready to go. Oh, I'm so glad you like it. Yay, thank you, Elaine. I'm glad you can hear me. Uh-oh, switch back. There we go. For some reason, it wouldn't switch the picture back. Yeah, it's a cute fat quarter bundle, and I could not figure out what to do with it either because I don't do a lot of Christmas projects. And this morning I thought, well, I don't have any more windy days left because I'm making the whole quilt with it, and they only gave me a fat quarter bundle for pre yardage, and so it was almost gone, and I thought, what can I make the block with for you guys? And I thought, oh, Christmas would be super cute. So I went and found this because I thought it would be perfect. And I love pink and lime green for Christmas. It's very Victorian. Someday I'm gonna have an all pink and lime green Christmas tree again. I had it one once. Okay, there we go. Look how cute it is. It's like a Christmas wreath. I love it. So I hope you enjoyed the block tutorial. It's super simple, I know, to make. Looks a lot more complicated when you just look at it, but much easier to put together than you think. And that's how you match up those points. And now it looks like a rolling stone. This is a super fun block to do. Changing the colors, you could make this the dark if you wanted to and make this a background, which would be super fun. There's lots of different things you can do with this block. So I hope you give it a try and try out some different colors and putting together different designs and things. Thanks, Bonnie. You're so sweet to me. Hi, Pamela. Thank you, Elaine. Hi, Mary. Okay, so what was I going to tell you? Oh, that's going to be all for this week. Next week, I have to start shipping your boxes because, well, for Liberty, because I'm going to Houston for Quilt Festival. Market got canceled. And so for this week, this will be it. Next week, I'll do another tutorial on Tuesday because I'm starting to do every Tuesday again. And we'll also have our Thursday chat next week. So I will see you guys then. And I hope you have a great rest of your week and a wonderful weekend. And I will see you later. Thanks for coming.